Hello and welcome back to the Footballing Question podcast. You'll notice there's some changes. We're in a new studio, but we've got the same old faces. As you can see, Ashley and Jordan still in the studio, well, the new studio. But let's just get on with it. So, I'm going to start off with one little question. Who is the best non-Big Six player in the Premier League?
I'd like to kick things off.
You got in there straight away.
I
was going to go.
I'm not waiting around. I've been raving about him for a couple of weeks now, and it is Leandro Trossard. Ooh. I was between him and Ivan Toney, but I've gone with Leandro, maybe just because I've watched him a little bit more. But the Belgian winger has been phenomenal. The hat-trick against Liverpool was the main standout point, but everything else about him, he's just like, this is the peak of his career. You can really tell that, and yeah, he's been doing really, really well.
Jordan, who's yours?
A player that I can't lie, I've not really rated him that much for a while. And this season, I've seen him a little bit more and I feel as though he's like proper picking it up. I'm going for Ivan Toney. 9 appearances, 6 goals, 2 assists. His shooting success rate is 24%. I mean, it's not amazing, but, you know, fairly decent. And I think with the quality around him as well, I mean, it's not Manchester City level of quality, but I think he's having an outstanding season and the best non-top 6 player in the Premier League.
It's tough to disagree with that. I've got to admit, I did consider both those players. I think Ivan Toney is a phenomenal striker. I think Trossard's really shining this season, even scoring the hat-trick in his first game under a new manager and against tough opposition. We'll obviously get into Liverpool at some point later into this episode. But with my pick, I think you can see already this series there's a bit of a trend that I'm starting to milk off a certain English midfielder, and that player is James Maddison. I think he's an absolutely top-class midfielder. Obviously scored a brace, was it, last week against Forest, and a free kick. You know, he seems to be, despite that poor Leicester season, he is still performing. And like you said, Toney not having City quality around him, you know, the Leicester team's being picked apart, but he's just still the shining diamond within that. And I think that proves how good he is, and it's only a matter of time before he gets picked up, probably by Newcastle, if we're being honest.
It's weird, none of our picks actually clash with each other. You could fit all of our players into the same team, and
it'd be a great team.
It'd be a brilliant
all of them.
team.
Trossard on the left, Toney up front, you know, Maddison in behind.
Who we have in right wing just to finish off the attack?
Sir Maximan?
Yeah, I'll have that.
I'll back that.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
How about Bukayo Saka?
No,
Only joking.
Only joking.
He's not, yeah.
I'm only joking.
Next, we're going to go into the results. Just going to run through the big talking points. Boys, you want to start us off with what happened on Saturday?
Well, Saturday, the main kind of takeaway I took from that, the most important result anyway, was Bournemouth v Leicester. Yeah. I don't think anything else too unpredictable really happened. Obviously, Leicester haven't had the best season, so maybe you could argue Bournemouth were destined to win, but it's another loss for Leicester City. It's Bournemouth's 3rd win of the season, and they're on 3 wins after 9 games. They're doing a really, really decent job. So yeah, they were 8th before Sunday. I don't know how that's shaped up now, but yeah, my main takeaway from Saturday was Bournemouth 2, Leicester 1.
I mean, Haaland
scoring
surely
again.
Haaland's out there. I'm just getting a bit bored of him, if I'm honest.
I'm not getting bored of him. I've captained him in my fantasy team, so I'm going to keep doing so until he does not score. But yeah,
I've got a little bit of a story about Saturday actually. Should have mentioned it just then. But Brendan Rodgers, just before, or not before, but in the press conference leading up to the Saturday game, he obviously there's been a bit of suspicion around whether Leicester are going to sack him. They probably should. They need a new manager. Yeah. They need things to start changing up a little bit. Before the game, Brendan Rodgers revealed that he had the chance to leave Leicester on 2 separate occasions. The rumours were Arsenal and Newcastle, I think, that were both going in for him at different occasions. And he said that, I think someone asked him, how are you feeling about your position at the moment? And he said, well, I had 2 chances to leave, so hopefully they back me. They don't owe me anything, but hopefully they let me stay, because I could have left earlier on.
Fair play.
He's put his cards publicly on the table, hasn't he? But yeah, I mean, Leicester are not having a good start to the season. I mean, we haven't really gone too much into it this season, but yeah, really shocking start. I think Rodgers is bound to leave at some point. It really does feel like it's destined that he will be sacked at some point in the near future. I mean, I've mentioned Maddison. Beyond that, I mean, they've lost Fofana. Vardy's not really firing, hasn't got a goal yet in the Premier League this season. Daka needs to be given a lot more game time. Obviously scored on the weekend, but Danny Ward not properly replacing Schmeichel really cost them. And I think Danny Ward, I mean, the mistake on the second goal, Like, it's just not even goalkeeping at that point. It's just, it feels like you've just chucked a normal person into the goal. And I don't want to be rude to the guy, but I just don't feel like he's a proper goalkeeper.
Where do you think he actually plays on the pitch?
I don't.
If not in goal.
I'd want him in the stands, if anything. I don't, genuinely, the second goal, he just jumps up. And Christie just doesn't even need to shoot. He just kind of touches it and it goes in. It's just, I'd hate to be a Leicester defender because I'd see that and it would take away so much motivation to try and defend. Because I think if I've got that behind me, no matter how hard I try,
but does it motivate
something stupid will happen.
Does it motivate you a little bit more because you're like, right, I need to sort my area out because the guy behind me, I can't trust him.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He can't sweep up after me.
No, it's just...
Can we talk about our favourite game now?
We can talk about our favourite game. Obviously, on Sunday, some games went on. West Ham played Fulham. You know, that was a good win for West Ham. Some dodgy handball happened in that game, I don't know.
My God.
Palace played Leeds, didn't they? But the big game on the weekend was Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates. Obviously, Arsenal beat Tottenham last week. I went to the game on Thursday to watch Arsenal beat Bud Glimt in the Europa League. But two big games back-to-back in the Prem, Spurs and Liverpool. Arsenal knew going into this week they needed to win both to really stay at the top of the table and really push and make that statement. And they've done it. 3-1 against Spurs, 3-2 against Liverpool. What do you make of the game?
I've never been more confident actually going into a game against Liverpool. It was very strange considering in our last 6 matches we haven't scored against Liverpool. Last 6 matches against Liverpool, that is. We've had a horrific form against them in the past. That Firmino, when he came on, he's been our kryptonite before. I was worried, but we managed to hang on in there. I think getting that first goal straight away, we were so confident.
Yeah.
Martinelli had an outstanding performance, really. He's currently outscoring his XG. Yeah. He's having a brilliant season. He's bettering Salah, to be honest. He made Trent look a mug. He made Trent have to be taken off. And yeah, I mean, Klopp was playing for the draw at 2-2. He wanted that. He was bringing on more defenders. Konate, Fabinho was coming on. In the end, it really backfired because once we scored that Saka penalty, it was all over for them. They couldn't get back into it.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan, you didn't watch the complete game. You were at work. You only came back for the second half. But what did you think of the game?
I mean, I only saw the stats from the first half, and it seemed like you were getting absolutely battered. And then in the second half, I don't think either side was that convincing, to be perfectly honest. I think it's just a little bit all over the place. I mean, the penalty decision is, quite 50-50, but I think it was a penalty. But I also think Liverpool should have had a penalty in the first half with that Gabriel handball. I think it's a definite handball, and you can't say otherwise. I know I've spoken to you about it anyway.
With handballs, I'm very much of the opinion that I don't like them being given when they're close. My side or not, I'm very much iffy on them. And I understand why they're given. It's one that I won't disagree with if it's given, but it's one that I hate in the modern game because it's so close you can't react. But I understand if it was given. I think Liverpool fans can complain about that, but I don't think they should complain about the result too much because I think on the whole, Arsenal thoroughly deserved the win. You look at the XG, it's their lowest XG since the start of last season, their third lowest XG under Klopp. Arsenal, in a first half where we didn't have the ground share of possession, we gave them the ball, we still beat them on XG in that first half. We got over 1 XG in a first half. That doesn't happen in most games, but it's happening against Liverpool. I mean, they should be looking at their defence more than anything. I think going into the game, I predicted Martinelli would cook Trent. That's exactly what happened. A goal and assist in the first half. As soon as Trent goes off, Martinelli doesn't get a goal or assist in the second half. I think Trent going off upset me, if anything. If Trent was on in that second half, I don't think they get that Firmino goal because I don't think they have the defensive block to stop counter-attacks in the same way. That counter-attack at the end of the first half, you perk Joe Gomez in that situation. He maybe has the intelligence in that position to let Henderson go into the right back role, drop into the centre back role and provide that block. But all he did was open space, let Martinelli put that pass in, and it's such a simple pass to get to Saka to make it 2-1.
Yeah.
Did you say you were dominant?
I didn't say we were dominant. I'd say in terms of the way we used the ball, when they had possession. The thing is, Liverpool traditionally aren't a possession side that control a game. They're a team that are feisty and are fast and attacking, and as soon as they get the ball, they're at you. And they had the majority of possession in the first half, but they're not that kind of a side. They're not a team which we are a team like that. So it's like neither of us were playing our game, and their goal came from a quick ball, and that was more Liverpool.
With that second goal that we scored just before half time, Liverpool were on top of us. For a majority of the end of the first half, they were definitely the side who looked like scoring more.
Yeah.
And it was quite worrying, and out of nowhere we get that goal. It really was out of nowhere.
I think in the second half, you said maybe the second half wasn't too much, but I think in the second half, Liverpool weren't really getting a taste of it. I think in the second half we were playing much more to our capabilities. I think in terms of performances, I'd look at our midfield and I'd say I think we let their midfield have a bit too much. I think that's where we probably should have dominated them more, in terms of we had more men, and traditionally that's where we get our strengths from. I think Partey had a bit of a dodgy game in midfield, gave away a lot of the ball. I think Xhaka dropped a lot more deep, and that affected his performance massively. I think Odegaard gets a very nice assist in the first minute, but doesn't quite get those opportunities for the rest of the game. But defensively, I'd say Arsenal were phenomenal. I think Ben White was good. I think Tomiyasu was brilliant at left back.
He was.
Against Saliba.
Okay. He was.
I think Saliba, I'd say it's actually one of his worst performances in an Arsenal shirt. I think for the Firmino goal, he can do a lot better. And Gabriel, it just seems like every other week something's happening. But the full-backs in particular, Ben White and Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu, even more credit, playing his first game at Arsenal at left back, was brilliant against Sunderland. I mean,
do you have an argument against that?
A little bit, yeah. Would you? So you think you were outstanding defensively, right?
On the wide areas.
Was that a case of you kept them at bay? Is that why you were so good defensively?
I think keeping someone at bay is good defensively.
Were Man United good defensively when we played you?
I think you were good defensively, but I think also we were bad attacking wise.
Because I think having looked at the stats after both games, they're very similar in terms of one side having more possession, one side creating more chances, more passes. But I think Manchester But would you say Man United deserved to beat you?
I'd say you beat us.
Would you say we deserved to beat you?
One thing, say you're looking at the stats, one thing I do to compare the two games is, and I don't want to hoard on this stat and overlook this stat because I do love this stat, but in terms of XG, because having shots doesn't show the quality of the shots. XG shows the quality of the shots, the quality of the chances, were you more likely to score? And Arsenal won the United game on XG. And which shows that with the chances we had, we were creating high quality chances. With the Liverpool game, despite that high possession, despite the chance they had, I actually can't remember, the best save I can remember Ramsdale making was from Saliba, not from any of their shots. And we thoroughly won on XG. I think it's a thoroughly deserved win as a result. I think that our Man United Arsenal game was a lot tighter, and you got the edge of it.
I think it's quite. I won't lie. I think it's quite hypocritical to say that that Man United didn't deserve to win, but won, and the fact that Arsenal won the game and were better defensively and deserved to win that game. To say Arsenal deserved to win that game more than Man United deserved to win the game against Arsenal, I wouldn't say so. I would say it's about even. And I think we should move on. But I think I don't think it was a very overall convincing performance from Arsenal to concede two anyway, and I think quite poor defensively for the two goals, I would argue.
We were poor defensively for the two goals, but regardless, what a huge win.
I mean, it's a massive win.
It's our probably biggest win in recent memory in the last few years.
I think we should move on. I think there's two more games we need to talk about.
Well, yeah, speaking about, should we move on to Manchester United? They came into the frame a little bit then.
Yeah. Obviously, I watched the game. It was okay. It wasn't it wasn't anything special. It was an okay performance. There's a few things that need talking about though. Anthony, absolutely superb. I think three Premier League games, 3 Premier League goals. I think I saw a thing like the first Man United player to do that for a while anyway.
Really? Yeah.
Definitely for a while.
The finish for his first goal was great. Really was.
Brilliant. And I think I will never say. I don't think it was worth the money. I think it was overpriced.
Yeah.
But I do think it's looking.
It's looking like a good signing.
It's looking like a very good signing.
It's just a matter of he's not 90 million.
Yeah.
But it's a good player still.
I would have paid 60 mil for him at max, but
maybe,
there you go. Right, he's been outstanding. Ronaldo though, the main one, CR 700, I will say. Finally getting that Premier League goal and finally getting that 700th career goal for in club football, that is. He's just unreal. And the goal is, it's so good. The pass from Casemiro had a bit of a 50-50 game overall. Yeah. But the pass he made, it was just outstanding, through on goal, and it's a great finish.
Is it a great finish?
I think it's a very good finish. Hard, low. He knows what he needs to do. It's very Ronaldo.
I think it's a very good
Ronaldo.
finish.
Maybe because it's not too spectacular, I'm kind of taken away from it. But okay, he got the goal.
He got the goal.
2-1.
I think it should have been 3-1. I think it should have been 3-1 because I do not think that was a handball.
I'll admit, I've seen it back and I have no idea what the hell they were looking for.
And I think there was what we mentioned, one in the West Ham game, Antonio. Yeah. It's like he's holding the ball.
Yeah.
And that's given less so Rashford. Apparently less so it hit his hand.
It hits his chest and his head, and then he keeps going.
Yeah, and they give it for handball.
A lot of inconsistencies with the handball this weekend. We had Antonio, we had Gabriel.
There's inconsistencies every week. I mean, you look at last week. It was last week with Thiago Silva, where they actually do spot a handball, and it's a clear. He's on the floor and he's hit the hand twice, and it's the clearest moment you've ever seen where you go, that guy should be sent off. He's deliberately handballed it and stopped an attack, or a guy going for a goal. And they gave him a yellow. And it's just so irregular.
The thing with it is, right, it's not just consistency. For me, it actually really annoys me when I see it watching TV, because you hear the commentators go, oh, how's that handball? How's that handball? Then they bring in the other referee.
And they go, wow, actually.
That referee, he goes, yeah, I think it is a handball. And then the commentators suddenly go, oh, you know what? Yeah, that is a handball, isn't it?
They literally just suck up to this guy.
It's ridiculous.
It's Peter Walton and BT.
I also kind of think the referee that they bring in, he's always on the referee side in the game. He's always like, well, he's doing this because he never actually argues with him.
No.
And maybe that makes sense because he did what he did. But I don't know. But one factor from that Everton game, Alex Iwobi's goal.
Beautiful. It's a real. Can I say, this is a lovely remontada for Alex Iwobi. He's having a really good season in midfield. He's really coming back into form at Everton. It's nice to see. Obviously, ex-Arsenal player. I did like Iwobi. Didn't quite work out at Arsenal, but playing in that midfield role at Everton really seems to be like reigniting the potential inside there. And
he looks deadly with that goal as well.
It's not really his kind of play this season, but you know, with the confidence he's got now, he goes for that and it plays off. So
he didn't look like he was going to score. He didn't look like he was in a really deadly opportunity, but he took it.
Curls it, past De Gea, great goal.
Man United go into 5th now.
Yeah. One more thing with the table as well. It's starting. The usual top 6 starts from Liverpool. They're catching up still, but the usual top 6 are starting to take their shape.
It's starting 9 games in. It is starting to shape up.
Yeah, which is always a little bit of a shame, because I like to see Brighton up there. I like to see West Ham up there. You know, all the usual sides that kind of contest him for the higher up positions. But
I think there's one game we need to talk about.
Enoch.
Yes. Enoch and Mwepu. It's really sad. We heard the news this morning with Mwepu that apparently Brighton found out that he had a heart condition and he can no longer play football, and he's been forced to retire, which... It's really sad news. Obviously, at the age of 24, can't play football anymore.
Can I share a little thing?
Little anecdote.
I mean, not really. Obviously it's such a sad thing, but it just takes me back to last season. The first vlog on the channel, matchday vlog, is Brighton Man City, where us two went.
Yeah.
And every time we go to a game, we always pick out a player.
Yeah.
And at the end of that game, we went, Mwepu, he's amazing. He's so good. And
it's just really sad.
Yeah,
it is sad.
Literally last week we were in the Brighton shop in the city centre, looking at the shirts, and we were going, who are we getting on the back of our shirts this season? Because we're going to get one. It's our last year at university. We're thinking, we'll get players, and we were both going, yeah, Mwepu's probably a good shout. He's our proper favourite player there, and it's a real shame because he's a really talented player.
Surely he's still got to get on Mwepu now.
Oh, 100%.
I think, you're definitely getting on Mwepu. I'm still 50-50 on that and Welbeck, but but it's a real shame, and hopefully he finds a way to kind of stay in the game. Obviously not in a playing role, but hopefully Brian have something up for him, because it is just a real shame. But
They all do. They're a solid club, and they look after him.
Obviously, Arsenal beat Liverpool. Liverpool lost to Man United, lost to Arsenal, drawn to Fulham, Palace, Brighton. I think that the question now needs to be asked: what is going wrong at Liverpool?
A lot's going wrong.
I mean, a lot's going wrong.
But what?
Right?
But what?
But I said it at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure there's a video on the YouTube. I think it might be our predictions video where I go, Klopp's leaving it by the end of the season. He'll be gone, and it's coming true. And you know why that is? Klopp's 7-season syndrome. It's insane. I've got everything written down here at Mainz. He put them back in the Bundesliga, the promised land of the Bundesliga. 3 seasons later, his 7th season, gets them relegated, and the club just turns completely sour. And I don't know much about the Bundesliga. I don't know how often they get promoted back to the Bundesliga or whatever. But
Mainz have been in it recently, but considering he took them back to the Bundesliga,
they were in a bit of a rut before. Couldn't quite get there. Took them back there. They were consistently in the Bundesliga. Couple of seasons later, relegated. Guess what? His 7th season. Dortmund, obviously the big one.
Yeah.
He took them to triumphs, right? They won the league.
Got to Champions League final.
I think it was 2 seasons in a row they won the Bundesliga. Champions League final. Next thing you know, his 7th season, they're bottom at Christmas. He managed to turn it around, and they finished 13th, but obviously not quite the heights that he once was.
I mean, it's not quite winning the league, is it?
No, definitely not. And I've written it here. We are seeing it before our very eyes. The 7th season at Liverpool, and
it was yesterday. He was appointed as Liverpool manager 7 years ago. Yesterday. That is bizarre.
It's weird.
It's happening, and I think it comes down to, and it happened at Dortmund, and Dortmund fans have warned Liverpool fans over the past, and it is the fact that because his tactical system is so aggressive and it's so intense on the players, it works, and when they're all clicking together, it works phenomenally, but it also gets to a stage where they are burnt out and they can't take it anymore, and then when one place starts to not work properly, like you've got a player like Trent who's not defending well enough, and it kind of pulls the whole system out of its usual normality. It's going to mess everything up, and eventually it's all too much for all of them.
Klopp, I think it's Klopp's time, really.
I think it's Klopp's time too.
It's his time, and I think he's got to go. I think
this is really like has to go.
Has to go. I mean, they won 9-0, but this is a complete. Players aren't looking the same. Salah doesn't look the same. Trent doesn't look the same.
With Salah, maybe it has to be asked. The question has to be asked potentially around signing that new contract, and whether or not the motivation's gone down.
Tomiyasu schooled Salah yesterday. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, a lot of people have been scoring Salah. He's only got 2 goals this season. I mean, I remember I captained him for that 9-0, and when he walked away with 0 goals, I took him out of my fantasy since then. And do you know what? It's been working out pretty well for me so far.
I think the big one as well, Van Dijk is not the same by any means.
Ever since that United game, it's just not looked to the same. And I think ever since that opening day draw to Fulham, because no one saw this going into the season. No one expected. Everyone expected the usual. City Liverpool are going to be round there.
They'd rejuvenated their attack. They just signed Darwin Núñez.
Yeah, and we didn't know how he'd do. I thought maybe he'd not do too well this season, but I thought Liverpool as a whole would do all right. And it's just that opening day game against Fulham. It's just Mitrovic really took on Van Dijk, and since then I think we've seen that and we've gone, hold on, you can get at this team. They have weaknesses. You can bully Trent. You can try and run at Van Dijk, and now teams actually have that confidence and they're trying it, and it's paying off. Because I feel one thing Van Dijk was living off was he had a fear factor around him as a defender. I mean, we talk about it as an aura, but he did have an aura. Kind of forwards would look at him and go, don't fancy it, and it would force them to go wide because they'd look at this mountain of a figure and go, no, I'm not trying it.
And now all of a sudden
some little Serbian bloke has gone, do you know, no, and then suddenly everyone's gone, actually, if I try, maybe. And
Liverpool have a game in hand.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you saw Arsenal having a 14-point lead on Liverpool?
It's insane because that's 14 points. That is 4 losses and also another 2. Yeah,
they've lost.
I think it's insane to think about. Right, towards the end of last season, it went down to the final day. They're going to win the quadruple. It's going to happen. They're going to win the quadruple. They're going to win the quadruple. And then from there, it just went downhill. And now look at them. They're in an absolute rut. And Klopp, I think Klopp's the real factor in that, in my opinion. Anyway.
I was watching the game with Eloise's granddad, and he's a Liverpool fan. And you know, he gets he gets a bit aggressive, like we all do, you know. That, much like Isaac, and when we scored our first goal, I kind of forgot where we won. I went mental in his front room, and that wasn't a good look. I've made that mistake before as well. Anyway, move on. I started to be a bit calmer, but at the end of the game, he said something that you've just mentioned there. Last season, they were going to win the quadruple, and now look at them. They could have won 4 trophies last year. This season, they ain't going to win any. They're going to win nothing. They're not even going to contest in the top 6 at this rate, anyway.
Yeah, at this going rate. Honestly, if teams weren't like generally worse than the squad they have, they'd be a lot lower. They'd be a lot lower. If you look at some of the teams below them, like Brentford had a great start to the season. So have Everton, West Ham, but they're like just below them, level on points with them. It's insane. I don't know who they have in their next couple of games. To be fair,
they've got Man City.
Yes.
Man City next week.
They've got Man City.
I mean, the positive way to look at it is it's the perfect chance to bounce back. Like, if you want to prove yourself, do it against the best. But, I mean, they've lost to Arsenal, who are at the top of the table, and City, you know, you've probably playing against the best striker in world football currently on form.
I think that's going to be the last nail in the coffin.
Is it at the Etihad?
No, it's at Anfield. But
that does that little bit of spice.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
City's record at Anfield isn't perfect.
No.
I think it's the last nail in the coffin. If they lose that game, and in convincing fashion as well, we could be saying bye to Klopp.
I can see that happening, but I think it's time to really ask viewers, you know, what do you think? Do you think it is time for Klopp to go? Do you think that Liverpool need that change to kind of get back to where they've been? So yeah, if you're on the YouTube, comment below and
let us know. Grace this new studio with 400 comments about what you think Liverpool are going to do well.
This new studio deserves that treatment.
Are we moving on?
Yeah.
Because I just hear something. Like,
no, I want to move on. Shut up.
No, wait.
Hold on.
Can you not hear that?
No. I can hear it too.
Something wrong with the new studio, I think.
Is it?
Wait.
Is it Jordan's Fact of the Week?
It's Jordan's Fact of the Week! Wow, we're back again. I can't lie. I'm just going to reveal this information to the viewers. The last fact was in the last episode, but it was awful, so we had to cut it.
Did you realise?
No, I didn't even know.
It got completely cut because it was so bad. We're never going to reference that ever again.
I forget what the fact was.
Exactly.
We don't need to.
You don't need to know.
No.
You remember the other ones because they were actually good.
No. It was basically a massive pile of racism, sexism, all things bad, homophobia, just in one saying, and we had to cut it.
No, that's not true.
Realistically, it's just dull as
For
hell.
future employers that might try and employ me, that is not true.
It was just a bit boring.
It was just not a good fact. But this week we are back with an outstanding fact, if you ask me. Something quite short and quite sweet. Let's get on with it.
Ready for the TikTok.
Jordan's fact of the week this week surrounds one man, David Beckham.
Ooh.
We love David Beckham here at the Footballing Question, right? You guys like David Beckham?
Been some news recently that's a bit shoddy.
Little bit, but
what? Qatar
and that.
Okay.
Me personally, though, I love him. Of course, I love him. I'm a Man United fan, and you know what? I would say he was born to play football, and you know why that is? Because Jordan's fact of the week is this. I messed it up. Jordan's fact of the week this week is: did you know that David Beckham was born at a hospital called Whipps Cross Hospital?
That's true.
Whipps Cross Hospital.
And he's a number 7, and he whips them in like that's insane.
It's in North Leicestershire.
So it must be like near Essex, surely. Like.
Yeah, but he was born to whip crosses in.
That's actually insane.
Like, well done, Jordan. That's a good fact.
That is a mental.
Whipps Cross Hospital.
Mental fact.
And that is Jordan's fact of the week.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the debate of the episode. We're going to be talking about who is the most Brexit player in the Premier League. Now, with that term, we're talking proper, old school, 90s football, who fit, skinhead footballer. None of this fancy nonsense. I'm talking Martin Keown. Who is it? Who have you got, boys?
Is that your pick? Martin
No,
Keeling?
no.
Well, who is
I'm-
your pick?
I'm-
You go
yeah, you go first.
In current football,
Are we going with current football?
we're
Yeah.
going with current football.
Oops, let's carry on.
Okay, if we were going all time, I would have probably gone with like Terry Butcher.
Skinhead Wayne Rooney.
You skinny.
That was my shout.
I was thinking Terry Butcher with his head wrapped in blood and stuff. But if we're going current football, there's two that I was thinking of. They're both defenders. One of them plays for Everton and is, big ears, James Tarkovsky. Gets stuck in. Used to play for Burnley under Sean Dyche. That gives him plenty of Brexit points. He's probably got a forklift licence. Proper old school.
Is that who you're going with?
No. I'm going with a man who I love dearly. I'm going with a man who I've seen score twice live. I'm going with a man who has been a skinhead at one point in his playing career. I'm going with Roberto Holdini, Rob Holding. I'm sorry, but what is more Brexit than being subbed on to park the bus? His role in football is not to play in the Premier League, it's to be subbed on in the last 5 minutes to just head everything out and hoof it. The man used to play for Bolton in the Championship. That gives him extra Brexit points, in my opinion, playing for a team which has been supported by Thogden. I'm sorry, but that gives him plenty of points, and that is why he's my Brexit player.
Beautifully delivered.
Can I go
Thank you.
next? Because I had a bit of a scare there. Because my player is James Tarkovsky. Now, look, you mentioned that he plays for, he plays for Everton, but he used to play for Burnley under Sean Dyche, which was the just unreal team.
Great
I literally wrote here, this man gets stuck in every beeping week. He dies for the 3 points. He died for 3 points.
Gosh, you dive.
I think back to that crunching tackle against Richarlison last season, I think it was. Just Richarlison's on the wing, and he just runs over and just crunches the life out of him.
I can remember in pre-season Arsenal played Everton, and in the last 5 minutes, we're 2-0 up. It's the last 5 minutes of a pre-season game, and Sambi Lakonga's got it in the corner, and he slid in, red card challenge, but he's won the ball as well. It's just like, it's pre-season, mate. Calm the hell down. But
he doesn't care. And you know what's more Brexit than crunching tackles like that? Aerial duels.
He's got a massive.
You know
skull on
what? He's got some massive head on him. 18 blocks, 15 interceptions, 50 clearances, 33 of which were with his bloody skull. Aerial battles won this season, 28. Outstanding. Unbelievable. I put here a little shout out to Scott McTominay because I think he is quite the man.
But then you've got to question, is it really Brexit if you don't put in pure-blooded Englishmen?
James Tarkovsky, for me, is just, you can't beat him.
That's a very good shout.
You can't
very
beat
good
him.
shout. Ashley?
There's only one man on my mind apart from Skinhead Wayne Rooney. I was watching Arsenal once, I think it was a couple of years ago, against Brighton. This man has moved on from Brighton since then, and every single attack would go down the left. Yeah, come on lads, we're moving, bang! This just absolute brick wall known as Dan Burn comes out of nowhere and just annihilates the attack. We're just done.
6'6".
And he's actually such an attacking threat as well because he's so tall. No one's as strong as him. No one's getting above him at a corner. He's brilliant, and he's actually quite technically gifted. But we're not talking about that today. He's pure bloody Brexit. I think Dan Burn wins.
This is interesting.
Okay, hear me out. The fact that you've had to mention technical ability, if anything, loses points. The fact that he's adept and can play in multiple positions loses him points.
I can't lie.
2 centre halves.
You know what? I'm thinking about it.
How many games has James Tarkovsky played in the Championship?
But wait a minute. Hold
That
on.
gives you points.
Hold on, mate.
Hold on.
I think Rob Holding's one of the worst shouts I've ever heard in my life.
right.
That's awful.
I love Rob.
You love him. But
I saw him score.
Imagine you're in a
Thursday.
pub and you've got Dan Burn, James Tarkowski and Rob Holding. All of a sudden, it just breaks out. 3 of them just start fighting each other.
Rob Holding's running
getting
away.
destroyed. I love him, but he's done.
I'll be
He's
honest,
not.
I get what you mean. He's the softest northerner I've ever met in my life. But
He is
I've
not-
not met him, but you know what I mean.
So now there's 2 left in the pub.
Your only argument for Rob Holding, right, is, but he comes on when we park the bus.
He comes on and we play 5-3-2.
Get him out. Get him out.
Can I say, I love Rob Holding. He's always been one of my favourite Arsenal players, and I am one of the few people to be able to say this statement. Every time he scored at the Emirates, I've been there. So I just want to say that.
don't
It
give
was
you extra
lovely.
points.
Great head on Thursday. Good on Rob, you're a great player.
It don't give you extra points, though.
Put it on the CV, mate. Put it on the CV, mate, but it's not getting above
I
ours.
think
Okay.
Rob Holding's out of the
So,
argument.
Tarkovsky, or Dan Burn?
I'm sorry. You said as well. You think technical ability should get it out.
Yeah, but also
played for Burnley.
No, but hang on a minute. He's about to get his hat trick.
No,
winning the debate 3
don't
times in a
think
row.
about that.
Right?
Don't think about that.
Actually, don't. What you're doing there, like, trying to like wax me up for a nice little night.
I'll be honest.
Point, you know?
I am leaning towards Tarkovsky, only because when I picture Dan Burn's head and James Tarkovsky's head,
Which one is more round?
which one's more posh? Which one's more like, I'm going to mess you up, mate?
Yeah.
Right? It's Tarkovsky.
The reason I'm giving points here, and the reason I'm going to go Tarkovsky and give you the win, is that who's Dan Burn played for? He's played under Potter at Brighton. Pretty skillful, pretty tactical manager. He's playing him at left back. If Potter likes you, you're probably not a Brexit footballer. Now, if Frank Lampard and Sean Dyche like you, it's a different story.
This man, honestly, I've never seen a man crunch as many people in my life. And you know, he's not exactly like massive, James Tarkovsky, is he?
Doesn't care.
It doesn't matter.
Do you know what he reminds me of? It reminds me of Maguire pre the United move. This is Leicester Maguire, just proper Brexit. And yeah, Jordan, you win your 3rd debate of the season. 3 episodes in a row. He's on an absolute hot streak.
The most Brexit player in the Premier League this season.
Officially, James Tarkovsky.
Let us know what you think, though, in the comment section.
Get in the comments. Now it is that time of the episode where I am going to talk to you and give these guys a grilling with the quiz. This week's quiz, the theme is the EFL, the Football League, the divisions of 2 to 4, Championship, League 1, League 2, all the way from 1888 to now. Okay, when the Football League was founded...
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Bang.
No! Oh, sorry.
I'm losing.
Sorry, you've got bang, you've got ding. I'm sorry, I forgot to set it up, but you've got bang, you've got ding. Those are your buzzers.
I've not had bang.
I mean, you can take it if you want.
Yeah, I'll have it. Bang.
You take bang, I'll take ding.
You've got bang, you've got ding. I never have bang, to be fair. I always screw up. But yeah.
I'll take ding.
Okay, question 1. When the Football League was founded in 1888, there were 12 founding members. 3 of them are currently in the Premier League. Name one of those 3 teams.
Bang.
Yep. Gonna have to press you there.
Liverpool.
Incorrect.
Ding. Aston Villa.
Correct. Aston Villa were one of the 12 founding teams. The other 2, who are currently in the Premier League, are Everton
Newcastle.
and Wolves.
Ooh.
Of the 12 founding members of the Football League in 1888. This
I'll
is
take
the
one.
thing is,
Well
this
done,
is the
well
Football
done.
League. This is like just the Football League structure. Before this, teams were just like kicking about. This is only 2 years after Arsenal were made a team. So yeah.
Wow.
Question 2. Obviously, at one point, the structure developed into the 92 team structure from Division 1 to Division 4. In what decade was the 92 team structure established?
Can you repeat the question?
In which decade was the 92 team structure established?
Can you repeat the setup? Say the whole thing again, just quickly.
I don't have the setup written down.
Okay. Right.
In what decade did it become 92 teams in the Football League?
What decade?
Which is what it is now. Obviously, it's not the Football League because it's Football League plus Premier League.
I think I've got an idea. Ding.
In what decade? Yep.
I'm in bang.
Yeah.
Yep.
1920s.
1920s. Incorrect. It wasn't in the 1920s.
I would have thought it would be later than that.
Come on, Jordan. Go.
Bang. I'm going to go for the 1950s.
Correct. It was the 50s. It was dead on 1950 when it happened. It took that long for them to establish that it was a 92 team structure.
That was a complete guess. I pulled that
It's
right out of nowhere.
2-0 to Jordan. A good start from him. Okay, question 3. The Championship has been going on for quite a while. A lot of teams go up, a lot of teams go down. But which team has played the most seasons in the Championship? This isn't consecutively, they've spent the most seasons. There are 2 answers here, they're both tied.
Ding. Norwich.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Obviously no, because they go up and down a lot.
Yeah, but you never know.
There are teams in there that have been rotting there.
I didn't think about that too.
But they're still in there.
I'm not going to say. There are 2 answers. One of them might be there and one of them might not. They are joint top.
I've thrown that one
They've
away.
spent the most seasons in the Championship.
I think I know as well.
Gonna have to press you for an answer there.
Bang.
Yeah? Go on.
Stoke.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
Any Sunderland? No.
Yeah.
No, they had
It
success.
is actually Cardiff and Derby. 17
Derby
seasons.
makes sense.
Yeah.
17 seasons, both of them
You know,
in the Championship. Obviously, Cardiff and Derby. Cardiff are in the Championship currently, so they'll probably push that up a little bit more. And Derby, maybe they can go up, maybe they can't. The next question. At some point, the Football League rebranded to become known as the EFL. In what year was it rebranded to the EFL?
Dead on or closest?
Dead on.
Are you giving us within a certain amount?
It was within the last. It's modern day. It's modern day.
Wait, so when did it go
In
from the
what
Football League to
It
the
was originally
EFL?
called the football. It had been called the Football League for a decade beyond the Premier League. It was called Football League when the Premier League changed. It was still Football League. Since the Premier League has been established, at some point they changed it to the EFL. What year?
Ding. 2015.
Bang. Can I put an answer as well?
Yeah, you put a question. Yeah, you go.
2016.
Bang on.
Yes! God!
2016. If you may remember, it's the year when the League Cup changed the EFL Cup for a year, where they didn't have a sponsor for a year for some weird reason.
Thought it was recent.
EFL, it is very recent. 2016 is bang on. Unlucky Jordan. So it is what?
the way
2-1
cookie crumbles.
from 4 questions. Next question. Obviously, a lot of teams have won silverware and gone down, meaning there's a lot of successful teams still inside of the Football League. But which team in the Football League has won the most major silverware?
Including the Premier League.
Major silverware.
In the EFL, so from Championship to League 2, which team
Oh, not Premier League.
has won the most silverware? Major silverware. So this doesn't count Championship titles. This counts First Division titles, cups, European success.
Bang.
Yep.
You just wanted to get in ahead of me, didn't you?
Sunderland.
Incorrect.
Ding. Portsmouth.
Incorrect. You're going to kick yourself, boys. It's Blackburn.
Oh,
3 league titles, 6 FA Cups, and 1 League Cup. 10 trophies. Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually,
That's fine.
yeah, you've also got Forest who are just behind them.
I was
And-
gonna say Forest.
But they're in the Premier League, but they
Yeah.
are just behind them. Blackburn still are ahead of them. So Forest only have 2 league titles, and they have their 2 Champions League as
That's
well.
5 questions now, isn't it?
Okay, so yeah, it is still 2-1. 5 questions in, it is 2-1. Next question, boys.
I hate this.
Obviously in England we have multiple cup competitions, the FA Cup, the League Cup. We also have a trophy which goes by the name of the Papa John's Trophy. But what was the original name of that tournament? Before the branding was brought in, what was the original name of the tournament?
Ding. The Football League trophy.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I thought that was a trick question for a second.
No, that's just what it is. It was also obviously the one that everyone knows more. Originally, like the one that was the longest running name was the St Johnstone's Paint Trophy.
Yeah.
I went to the final when it was the Checker Trade Trophy. But yeah, the
should've
original
known that.
full name was the Football League Trophy.
Isn't it called the Football League Trophy now?
No, it's called the Papa John's Trophy.
Still.
Papa John's. Okay. Speaking of the Papa John's, in the Checker Trade Trophy final of 2019, Wembley set a record attendance which has yet to be beaten. But which 2 teams met in the final in 2019?
I know it. Ding. Oh no. Sunderland and Portsmouth.
Correct. For a bonus point, can you tell me the score
Um,
and the result?
Ding. It went to penalties. I know that. Did it finish 2-2 and like 5-4 in penalties?
Who won?
Portsmouth.
Bang on. 2-2 after extra time. Portsmouth went on penalties.
He's 5-1 up. He's done it, hasn't he?
I think 4-1 now, but yeah, he's
No, but
def-
that's an
he's-
extra because
he's
I got an
5-1
extra
up.
Was it
bonus.
fourth?
point,
Okay, so it's
5-1.
5-1. So you're absolutely demolishing it. And there are 1, 2, 3 questions left. And I've got a bonus point at the end of that, but who cares?
You've won.
You've won. Well done.
Mate.
I was actually at that game. It was a pretty good affair. I was sat in the Pompey end with my mate, who is a Portsmouth fan, so he was loving life. However, it's one of my proudest moments in a stadium because I remember calling McGeady scoring a free kick and him laughing at me before him putting Sunderland 1-0 up.
It was in the Sunderland tie-dye.
It was in Sunderland tie-dye. I was in Sunderland tie-dye. I don't even know. He was watching somewhere in there.
Next question.
Next question. Which team has won the most Championship playoff finals? So which team has gone up the most times via winning the playoffs?
Can it be a Premier League team?
Could be,
Okay.
because they could have got promoted.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were exclusive.
No. Fulham.
Incorrect. It's not Fulham.
Uh,
I reckon this one's going to be really hard for people.
Who's gone up with that? Ding. No. I don't know. Newcastle.
Incorrect. This is a really tough one because they've been in the Premier League for a long time, for
I'll never
about
guess.
10 years. Yeah,
Palace.
it is Palace.
I was literally
4
I
times.
was
They've won the
literally-
playoffs 4 times. It's just a lot of those were late 90s, early 2000s, and then the last time they went up was through playoffs.
It was my first game.
2 questions remaining. The first of the final 2, the penultimate question. When were the divisions renamed to the Championship, League 1 and League 2? This is after the establishment of the Premier League. When were the divisions renamed?
Bang. 2004.
Correct.
Fair play.
So if we had Palace and that, I'm not too far behind.
Yeah, but you didn't get Palace, sorry mate. But final questions, the final question of the day. Jordan is running away with it, he's still got the win.
What is it, like 5-2 now?
I think 5-2, yeah? Which team achieved the highest points tally in a championship season ever? Which team?
Bang. I want to say Newcastle.
Incorrect.
Ding. Norwich.
Incorrect. The team is Reading. In 2005-2006 season, they achieved a points tally of 106 points, which is yet to be beaten in the championship.
Decent. Fair play. And that is...
That is the quiz. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. I think we certainly have in this brand spanking new studio. But that is all we've got time for. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. And yeah, we'll see you later.
I actually won. See you later.
Remember to follow us on all of our socials. We are The Footballing Question on YouTube and Spotify, as well as TFQ_podcast on Twitter.
On Facebook, we are The Footballing Question, and on TikTok, we are TFQ Podcast.
And Instagram, TFQ Podcast.